basically what we were looking at is the road surface, which was reaching the end of its sell-by date basically. The top layer, which is called the surface layer, which is a quality material which should prevent noise, provide a smooth ride to people who are driving along the road, also waterproofing. So it's the quality material, the top layer of the road. And what had basically happened, that wears for obvious reasons, for the traffic use, and we decided that it was time to build it into our capital programme. So the idea was to spend 7 days planing off the top layer of the road and resurface it for a quality road surface. Basically what we discovered when we were doing that work, we exposed the binding layer which was failing. So the blue line is the surface course, which sits on top of the binding course, and that's the base layer is the green layer. And what had happened is that the green layer, the base layer, had completely failed. When it was first laid, the road was constructed, we believe, pre-1990, and the material wasn't really fit for purpose. It's hard to tell at that time. It may have been overheated, there may have been too much additives put into the material, and basically that's failed. Everything has a sell-by date and basically a life expectancy, and it's failed way before it should have done. And basically the binding course was sitting on rubble. It was sitting on, some people described it as soil, and that's no good. The base course needs to be strong, it needs to absorb the traffic wear and tear. For public safety reasons, and for obviously it's a major route, we had to make emergency road closures, one to make the road safe because it was failing quite significantly, and we basically had no alternative but to do a major reconstruction of the road. So that's taking off not only the surface layer, taking out the binding course and taking out the base layer. What you see behind me is a planer, and to give you some idea of how the material deteriorated, the planer basically draws out the material off the road into the back of the lorry, and what would normally take 4 hours, it was getting through the work within an hour and a half. So that gives you some idea of the condition of the base layer. What was originally a 7-day job has turned into a plan over 6 weeks. Now we appreciate that's been a major disruption to the local businesses, to the local residents here, and I can only apologise for that. We have been criticised for the planning of it. We had no alternative. It was a decision we had to take. We had no alternative, and I'd like to thank the businesses and the local residents for their patience. We've worked around the traffic management of the site to keep the roads which feed onto the Castle Farmway open during the reconstruction work. We could have consolidated the programme by closing these junctions, but that's obviously no good for businesses, it's no good for local residents. So we're trying to work with the residents, with the businesses, to keep the traffic flowing. For local residents and businesses, or anybody who's interested to keep up to date, if you please go onto our web page, you'll have an up-to-date, real-time approach of what we're doing on the road and what stage we're at.